participate to do even better with our community survey. Thank you.
Next is mayor's announcements. The city continues to try to help people that are in distress during COVID. We have a small business emergency assistance program. The city continues to accept applications for the small business emergency assistance program to help our local businesses stay in business. Applications are accepted on a first come, first served basis. For more information, they can contact the Sheboygan Planning Department. We also have a mortgage and utility assistance program. Sheboygan and Lakeshore Community Action Program are offering a mortgage and utility assistance program for the city of Sheboygan homeowners who have been negatively affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The mortgage assistance program will provide up to 3 months of mortgage assistance in the city limits, and eligible household applicants must reside in the city limits, own the home they reside in, have a current income of less than 80% of the county median income, and not be eligible for mortgage forbearance and facing foreclosure. The pre-screen application is available at www.lakeshorecap.org, and questions can be directed to Lakeshore Cap at 920-682-3737. There's a spring election candidate forum coming up. The Sheboygan branch of American Association of University Women will sponsor a virtual candidate forum for the April election for the mayoral contest and the Aldermanic District 2 contest. The forum for mayoral candidates will air live at 6 p.m. on WSCS on Thursday, March 18th. Ryan Sorensen is challenging incumbent, myself, Mike Vanderstein, and a forum for Aldermanic District 2 candidates will immediately follow the mayoral forum. The candidates for the council seats are Roberta Felicki-Paneski and John Ranieri. Our spring election is set for April 6th. The ballot for the spring election includes state and local offices. The state offices to be elected are the state superintendent of public instruction, a court of appeals judge, and a circuit court judge. Local offices to be elected are mayor, alderpersons in districts 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and Sheboygan Area School District School Board members. In-person absentee voting will be available at the city clerk's office beginning on March 23rd through April 2nd on weekdays. Voting hours are from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon, and there will be special hours on April 2nd, the last day, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next, I'd like to give a COVID update. First of all, let's review the numbers for today. Our total positive cases increased by 83 during the last week. That is a total of 13,070. Active cases went up slightly, and they're up 7, and that's a total of 139. Recovered cases have increased by 76 to a total of 12,799. We only have 6 people hospitalized currently. That's down 3 from last week. And the death total has stayed at 132, no increase in that death total. And Sheboygan County COVID-19 activity level is high. We've had a dramatic decrease in our trajectory in the last 2 months. The current burden rate is at 157 per 100,000 persons. If this trajectory continues to shrink, our burden rate if it goes under 100 per 100,000 persons, the Sheboygan County activity level will improve from high to medium. There are currently 16 registered vaccinators in Sheboygan County. They've all begun to receive their vaccine and are able to assist with vaccinations. The supply of vaccine from the state is currently less than expectations and preventing all sites from operating at full capacity. New and eligible COVID groups have just been announced. The eligible groups are frontline healthcare personnel, residents and staff in skilled nursing and long-term care facilities, police and fire and correctional staff, adults over 65, education and child care workers, individuals enrolled in Medicaid and long-term care programs, and some public-facing essential workers, non-frontline essential healthcare personnel, and faculty and staff and residents in congregate living settings. On March 1st, the city of Sheboygan made a decision to proceed with the planning for a 4th of July celebration called Freedom Fest in 2021. This will include Venetian Night Parade, Freedom Run, 4th of July Parade, afternoon entertainment, and fireworks. Because the 4th of July falls on a Sunday in 2021, all Freedom Fest activities will be held on Saturday, July 3rd of 2021. This decision was based on the downward trajectory in the COVID-19 pandemic locally. We need to continue this downward trajectory and get everyone vaccinated. Now, if there would be a spike in new COVID cases and a serious increase of COVID-19 in Sheboygan, this decision to hold the event could change. So I urge everyone to continue to mask up, wash your hands often, and please keep on practicing these preventive measures. And when you're eligible, please make an appointment to receive your vaccine. Thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to hearings. Item 2.1 is hearing number 6 of 2021 pursuant to a notice published in the personal notices by the city clerk. This is a hearing to amend the city of Sheboygan's official zoning map and to change the use district classification of a property located at the northwest corner of South 10th Street in Illinois, formerly 935 Illinois Avenue, parcel 59281505-800, and property located at off of South 10th Street, formerly 1011 South 10th Street, parcel number 59281505810, and property located off of South 10th Street, formerly 1015 South 10th Street, parcel 59281505820, and property located off of South 10th Street, parcel 59281505930, from class urban industrial to class commercial. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? Chad, please go ahead. There you go.
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to state that these are all parcels that are owned either by the Redevelopment Authority or the City of Sheboygan, and in anticipation of future development in the area that's been identified as in an innovation district or some other use, it made sense at this time to move forward with rezoning, because we know that it's not going to be an industrial use. So the essential commercial use is the most has the most options for redevelopment to occur. So it's the most flexible zoning for that area. And you'll recall about 3 years ago, the rezone of the Badger State lost for the affordable housing development. That was zoned essential commercial as well. So the plan is to get this ready for future redevelopment.
Thank you very much for that information. Alderperson Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to close the hearing.
Thank you for that motion and support. All those in favor of closing the hearing, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes to close the hearing. Next, we'll go on with the second hearing, item 2.5. It's hearing number 10 of 2021 pursuant to a notice published in the personal notices sent by the interim finance director. This is a hearing to confirm the exercise of police power in making an assessment for those benefited properties against which assessments are proposed for parking assessment districts number 1, 2, 4, and 5. Is there anyone wishing to be heard? Is there anyone wishing to be heard? Is there anyone wishing to be heard? Alderperson Sorensen?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to close the hearing.
Thank you for that motion and support. All those in favor of closing the hearings, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That hearing is closed. Next, we'll move on to item 2.6, which is, the consent agenda. The consent agenda will include items 3.2 through 3.15. Alderperson Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive and file all ROs, receive all RCs, and adopt all resolutions and ordinances.
Thank you for that motion and support. Those items are before you. Is there any discussion?
She's green.
Mr. Mayor.
Did you skip these?
There you go, Mary Lynn.
I think that sounded like Bert's voice.
Roberta asked something.
Yes, it was me.
Roberta.
Roberta, please go proceed.
Yes, thank you very much. I'd just like to point out that item 3.3 and several after are in support of our downtown restaurants who are wanting to maintain outdoor eating areas as the summer begins. And I am all in favor of that. And I think it was a great city business relationship, and I'm all in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
Mayor?
Go ahead, Mary
If I
Lynn.
could just second what Alder Filicki-Pineski stated, and hope that we can carry that forward into the coming summer, even though we are on a downward swing, which will hopefully continue. I think a close examination of our current business practices as relates to our restaurants would certainly be in order, and something I think we can take a look at.
Thank you for those comments. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
I think,
Consent has to be a roll.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to take a roll call on consent. If you would please enter your votes. Motion passes. Under reports of officers, item 4.1 is RO number 165 of 2021 by the Director of Planning and Development, submitting the 2021 Golden Shovel certification for South Point Enterprise Campus through New North. Alderperson Sorensen. Thank you for that motion and support. Under discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4.2 is RO number 166 of 2021 by the Director of Planning and Development, submitting communication from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development regarding the approval of a recent application for Section 108 loan guarantee pursuant to Resolution number 105 of 2021 in the amount of $3.2 million for the Senior Community Center at 1817 North A Street. Alderperson Sorensen. Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on that item? Chad?
Thank you, Mayor. So I just want to give a little Cliff Notes version. So in the resolution, there's a number of items conditions that are part of this approval that city staff has looked at, and we don't believe will be any issues with this financing. This will be paid back. This $3.2 million does not go against the city's general obligation borrowing capacity. It's a loan with an interest rate of 0.3%. And it'll be paid back over 20 years with an estimated payment of $160,000 per year. And we will start making those payments in 2020 and 2021 as part of our yearly and entitlement allocation. So the plan is to dedicate $2.7 million towards renovation of the former Save-A-Lot into the Senior Community Center and reimburse the city $500,000 towards the purchase price that we did earlier this year of that real estate.
Chad, what was that interest rate again?
0.035%.
Thank you very much. Alderperson Sorensen, did you have a comment?
Oh, no, I just.
Very good. Alderperson Donahue?
Chad, thank you for that financial update because it is a kind of a complicated financing scheme. I just want to speak to the fact that this is a huge home run for the city. To take a fairly derelict structure in a neighborhood that can certainly use some love and care, and to place a senior center right in the middle of that, near Habitat for Humanity, with a lot of good parking. Meredith, you got to be thinking polling place. No, I'm just kidding. But when we look at revitalizing neighborhoods, placing a community center like this right in the middle of it is just critical. And I just am really looking forward to it because I think it's going to be a great addition. And I think it's also an opportunity for the senior center, which is under excellent new leadership, to engage in really interesting and thoughtful ways to use that huge building. And so I think it is a win-win-win-win, and I'm just so happy this worked out. So, Chad, thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody else that's involved.
Thank you for those comments. Roberta?
I have a comment. I would just like to add one little other thing. It is directly on a bus route. The buses stop right smack in front of it. So that's another win.
Any other online comments?
Mayor, Alderman Boren.
Please
Thank
proceed.
you, Mayor. I guess this would be for Todd. Todd, where are we in the planning process with this as far as laying out the floor plan and that type of thing?
Thank you, Jim. We're still in the layout process of it. We basically have been working with the architects in developing a multi-phase program, as I've stated in the past, and we're working on the budget as far as getting budgets for the first phase. Originally, just to update everybody, we were looking at the gym as being the focal point, so it'd be the front lobby into the gym, and we've changed that, so now it's going to actually be a focus on the lobby, the entry area, the office space, and the multi-use rooms that will give the senior center much more ability for flexibility with the seniors in programming. So that'll be the first phase. And then there's the replacement of the roof and the HVAC portions of it to designate those accordingly. And then there's going to be a proposed area for lease for an additional business to help share in overhead costs. And then we're also looking at a facade upgrade, which will actually help beautify the neighborhood and bring it up and revitalize it, as well as cleaning up the parking lot. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? Chad?
Just as a follow-up to what the city administrator said, the plan is to be out to bid hopefully in summer, so sometime in July, get under contract in September, renovate over the winter season next year, and open sometime in the second quarter of 2022.
Thank you for that schedule. Any other comments? Thank you. Seeing none then, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4.3 is RO number 167 of 2021 by the Director of Planning and Development submitting for Common Council information a progress report on the allocation of CDBG, CV1, and 3 funds as provided by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Alderperson Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive and file the document.
Thank you for that motion and support. I'll ask Chad to explain.
Thank you, Mayor. So in the document, you'll see that there is a number of loan funds under the Small Business Emergency Assistance Program that have been given out primarily in 2021. To date, we have given around $335,000 has been loaned. We dedicated $420,000 towards this, so we have a balance of about $85,000. We also, in the first round of COVID, issued some funding to area nonprofits to help with some of their operational losses. And then we, as you know, CDBG CV3 was allocated later at $230,000. We gave that entire amount, $230,211, to Lakeshore Cap to administer the mortgage assistance program on behalf of the city. $204,000 of those funds will be direct allocation to residents. The rest of that difference will be management and administration costs. The CV2, so there was 3 allocations. 2 of the CV1 and CV3 funds came to the city. CV2 funds came to the State Department of Administration. We were notified that we would receive $229,000 out of that pool. So we have been working with the state to try to get to an agreeable projects. It looks like it's going to go to a number of additional nonprofits that have implemented new programs as it relates to COVID and help with some of those costs as it relates to PPE and the new programs. So we're hoping to get that under contract in the coming weeks and be able to distribute those funds accordingly.
Thank you very much for that report. Alderperson Donahue, is your light on?
And again, there's so much good news for the community in this agenda that is really pretty heartwarming. I'm really so pleased to see that a good chunk of the emergency assistance fund has been already expended. When I am starting to go out and about now, I say, hey, have you applied for that money? And I'm hoping all of alders are doing that, and there's still quite a bit left, but we can't emphasize enough how these are just absolute, it's like a blood transfusion. It's just critical for survival, and so I'm really happy to see it. And I'm hoping and looking forward to the details on the rental assistance money that should be coming to the city at some point, hopefully in the fairly near future, because that is an enormous issue in our community. Thanks.
Thank you for those comments. Anyone else?
Mayor?
Please go ahead.
Chad, as far as the HUD amount that we've given out already this year, is that in line with the usual per year, or are we ahead of schedule that this seems to be progressed?
Well, we get around $917,000 a year, $920,000 of normal entitlement allocation. This roughly $1 million was on top of that $900,000. So we've given out our typical allocation to public service agencies that are doing great things in our community. And then this was on top of it as it related to COVID. So a number of nonprofits have gotten funding from the city to deal with COVID-related expenses.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4.4 will be referred to the, both the dual referral to licensing hearings and public safety and the Public Works Committee. Resolutions, items 5.1 through 5.3 will be referred to various committees. And under reports of committees, item 6.1 is RC number 298, or 289 rather, of 2021 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 180 of 2021 by Alderpersons Donahue and Bourne, authorizing the budget adjustment and appropriation in the 2021 budget regarding the Meade Public Library. Alderperson Donahue.
I move to receive the report of the committee and adopt the resolution.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll for passage?
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Item 6.2 is RC number 290 of 2021 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 183 of 2021 by Alderpersons Donahue and Bourne, awarding the sale of $5,140,000 in general obligation promissory notes series 2021A. Alderperson Donahue.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the resolution and award the sale of bonds as outlined. I'm
Second.
sorry, promissory notes, not bonds.
Thank you very much for that motion and support. That's before us for discussion. Carol Worth, are you online with us?
Do you want us to make the amendments?
Pardon me?
Yeah, you should make a motion to amend.
Okay, Mayor,
Please go ahead.
I move to amend the resolution to decrease the amount of bonds to be issued from $5,140,000 to $5,125,000, which includes updating the amounts identified in the resolution title section 1A and section 2, and to incorporate the exhibits provided by Wisconsin public finance professionals based on the bids received today.
Second.
Second.
Thank you for that amendment. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The amendment passes. So now we're discussing the main motion as amended. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Mayor,
Please go ahead.
thank you, Mayor. I was wondering if Carol could give us a result of the sale. Who is the winning bidder and what was the interest rate, please?
Carol, are you online with us? Then in that case, we'll turn it over to our administrator.
Oh, she's here.
Please proceed and answer the question, Carol.
Yes, okay. The promissory notes received 6 bids today, and the winning bidder was submitted by the firm of Robert W. Baird out of Milwaukee, and the true interest rate is 1.109%. So the notes obviously are funding the capital improvement projects for the city and for 2 of the city's TID districts.
Thank you for that information, Carol. Is there any other discussion or questions?
Just a question for Carol, this is Alderman Bourne. Carol, how is this sale compared to some of the other ones you've had in the last week or 10 days?
That's a great question because we've seen a lot of changes in the market in the last couple of weeks. Interest rates actually rose about 40 basis points since the beginning of March. When I presented to you back in beginning of February, we were projecting a 0.92. So as you can see, we are higher, but not as high as what the market has moved. And when I look at other sales, for example, a very good comparable sale was the city of Onalaska, which is also AA2, and they came in closer to the 1.5% range. So Sheboygan did very well.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much for that discussion. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll for passage?
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Item 6.3 is RC number 291 of 2021 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 184 of 2021 by Alderpersons Donahue and Bourne, awarding the sale of $3,660,000 in taxable general obligation refunding bonds, series 2021B. Alderperson Donahue.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Go ahead, Alderperson Sorensen.
I move to amend the resolution to decrease the amount of bonds to be issued from 3,666,000 to 3,600,000, which includes updating the amount identified in the resolution title section A1 and section 2, and to incorporate the exhibits provided by the Wisconsin Public Finance Professional based on the bids received today.
Second.
Thank you for that amendment and a second. That amendment is before us for discussion. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The amendment passes. Now we're on the main motion as amended. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Please proceed.
When I reviewed the document, there was a blank page in mine, and I'm very leery of blank pages in contracts. So, Chuck, if you could check it out. It was page 5, I think, or what would have been page 5.
Okay. Did review it. I'm not sure why you had a blank page, but we did review the documents, and the document is complete.
There are no blank pages in yours.
I did not see any.
Great, thank you.
Carol, would you like to give us an update on this one as well? Carol, are you on mute?
She's not online anymore.
Scott, is she still online?
She's not, but she does, her screen has disappeared.
Otherwise, I can do it.
I think it's like 1.9%.
Administrator Wolf, please proceed with the update.
Thank you, Mayor. For the $3,600,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds, they had 6 bidders again, and the winner was Northland Securities, Inc. out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and the true interest rate was 1.92, which is still really good considering the fluctuations in the market recently. One thing that I did want to point out that I was hoping Carol would touch on is that the city did maintain its AA2 rating, and that Moody's actually did reference the fact that they liked the balancing that the city of Sheboygan did with its debt payments and how we were strategic in looking at not just this year, but the years to come. So that was something that they identified during their review. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
This is Alderperson Felicki Pineski. I would just like to say thank you because that balancing was very thoughtful and very well planned out. So congrats to Finance, City Administrator. We got it right. And I would also point out that we have lowered the dollar amounts for both of these refinancing and the bonding, which is a good thing. We've just, quote, saved money by not needing to spend that money.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll for passage?
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Moving on to item 6.4, RC number 292 of 2021 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred General Ordinance number 38 of 2021 by Alderpersons Donahue and Boren, temporarily providing for the change of various due dates related to parking assessments in the city of Sheboygan. Alderperson Donahue.
I move to receive the report of the committee and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on this item? Chad?
I just want to mention that this document is coming before you to change a payment due date for the businesses that are affected by the parking assessments. Typically, parking assessment payments are due on May 1st. This will extend it out to June 1st, giving the businesses an additional 30 days with the idea that hopefully, as the pandemic becomes less, that people will start participating in local businesses and give them the revenues in order to make the payments. We did do this, the council approved a similar thing in 2020. The majority of the businesses, however, did pay on time, but we just feel it's a good gesture given that we're just coming out of the pandemic, to give them a little bit more time to make payment.
Thank you for those comments. Anyone else have a question or discussion?
Mike?
Alderperson Wolf?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base and reiterate what Chad mentioned. It's basically we're doing the same thing as 2020, trying to show that a better relationship between the businesses and the city, and giving some relief if relief is needed. As Chad had stated, the majority of them did pay according to the standard, but this does give some relief to those that need it.
Thank you for that comment. There's no other discussion. I'd ask the clerk to call the roll for passage.
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Item 6.5 is RC number 293 of 2021 by the Public Works Committee, to whom was referred General Ordinance number 39 of 2021 by Alderpersons Decker and Sorensen, amending section 110 through 210 of the Sheboygan Municipal Code relating to assessments of costs for sidewalks, and recommends to amend the ordinance to provide limitation of 75 square feet of sidewalk per parcel per side adjacent to the public right-of-way per year. Alderperson Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion to receive the report of the committee and adopt the substitute ordinance.
Second.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on this item?
Mayor, Alderman Boren.
Go ahead, Jim.
Could I have Director Biebel explain this a little bit? Somehow I overlooked this when I was preparing for the meeting, so I have a little better understanding of it.
Director Biebel, can you handle that?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Alderman Boren. What this ordinance does is basically provides relief to the citizens or residents for if we have a tree that is lifted a sidewalk, the old ordinance was the city would pick up 40% of the cost of the squares lifted adjacent to a tree, and the property owner was still responsible for 60% of that cost. With emerald ash borer and the removal of several, thousands of trees now, we're starting the phase of starting to replant and reforest our urban forest within the city. And it's become somewhat contentious, especially with some of the residents, because they've had to pay for sidewalk repairs, not just once, but sometimes more than once, as a result of trees lifting the sidewalk panels. So one of the things that we when we're going around with the sidewalk replacement program and the tree planting program to encourage trees is to have the ability to say, moving forward, the city will pick up any sidewalk slabs immediately adjacent to the tree that would be lifted, up to a maximum of 75 square feet, and that's roughly 3 sidewalk panels. Okay. Now, we're anticipating, however, that this burden should be reduced, because as we reforest and replant trees, our city forester has identified the proper trees for the particular terrace space, where maybe in the past I would say is that wasn't the case, and we probably had the wrong species of trees in some of our terraces, too large, for instance, for too small of an area, and we had root damage to the sidewalk. So moving forward, as I said, we would plant the proper tree in the proper location to minimize this, but yet there still would be relief to those residents if and when that would occur into the future.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Is there any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Under, let's see, under general ordinances, item 7.1 and 7.2 will be referred to various committees. Under matters laid over, item 8.1 is RO number 152 of 2021 by the Director of Planning and Sustainability Coordinator, Chad Pelichek, submitting the 2020 Green Tier Legacy Communities Annual Report outlining the City of Sheboygan's 2020 sustainable accomplishments and reporting that the document will be submitted to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Alderperson Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Move to accept the report.
Thank you for that motion and support. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll for passage?
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. The next couple items we're going to combine. So item 8.2, 3, 4, and 5, RO number 153, 154, 155, and 156 of 2021 by the City of Sheboygan Planning Commission, to whom was referred General Ordinance number 32 of 2021 by Alderperson Donahue. And let's go back to ordinance number 33, 34, and 35 by Alderperson Donahue, and RO number 139, 140, 141, and 142 by the city clerk, amending the City of Sheboygan's official zoning map of the City of Sheboygan zoning ordinance to change the use district classification of property located at the northwest corner of South 10th Street and Illinois Avenue, formerly 935 Illinois Avenue, parcel 5928-150-5800, and property located off of South 10th Street, formerly 1011 South 10th Street, parcel 592815050810, and property located off of South 10th Street, formerly 1015 South 10th Street, parcel 59281505820, and property located off of South 10th Street, parcel 592815055930, from class urban industrial to class commercial, central commercial, and wishes to report that this matter was discussed at a regular meeting of the City Planning Commission on February 23rd, and after due consideration recommends adopting the general ordinance and filing the ROs. Alderperson Bourne.
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to adopt the general ordinance and file the RO.
And that's all, four ordinances and 4 ROs. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll for passage?
Ten ayes.
Motion passes. Next is other matters authorized by law. I'll turn it over to City Attorney Adams.
9.1 is an RO by the city clerk submitting various license applications for the period ending June 30th, 2021, December 31st, 2021, April 14th, 2022, and June 30th, 2022.
That'll be referred to Licensing Hearings and Public Safety Committee.
9.2 is a resolution by Alderpersons Decker and Sorensen authorizing the appropriate city officials to enter into an engineering service agreement with Erickson Engineering Company, LLC, regarding the design of the trail bridge at Evergreen Park crossing the Pigeon River.
That'll be referred to the Public Works Committee. Next is adjournment. Alderperson
Mayor?
Sorensen.
Mayor?
Yes?
I just have a question. Is our next meeting the day after the election?
Yes, that's correct. We'll be meeting on a Tuesday.
Thank you.
On a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday, excuse me. Alderperson Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adjourn.
Thank you for that motion and support. All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you for your time this evening.
$1,000